You don't like a particular policy or a particular president? Then argue for your position. Go out there and win an election. Are some of these folks really so beholden to one extreme wing of their party that they're willing to tank the entire economy just because they can't get their way on this issue? Are they really willing to hurt people just to score political points? Republicans in Congress chose to shut down the federal government. Let me be more specific. One faction of one party in one house of Congress, in one branch of government, shut down major parts of the government, all because they didn't like one law.
So there you have it from Barack Hussein Obama's mouth himself. How dare people shut down the government? Oh, except when it's the Democrats. Then it's okay. Then everybody's okay with it. Then, oh, they're just fighting. Oh, they're fighting for Americans. This is all retreaded BS. It's all garbage. Everybody knows it. But welcome into Courageous Media, where we are going to discuss today the tidal wave, the bombshell, the absolute scandal that we are finding out now about Snap. And this is on the eve of Snap being eliminated for virtually all Americans. Unless states are willing to pick up the tab, which we will discuss, Snap will end in 4 days. And this is going to send shockwaves through a lot of people in America. I can't say a lot of American citizens, but we will get into that. In the meantime, please, thanks so much for joining me here at Courageous Media. Really appreciate you rolling up. If you could, let us know you're here in the comments. Smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. All right, here we go. Let's dive in because I want to discuss the fact that the SNAP benefits are getting ready to end amidst this ridiculous Schumer shutdown. Schumer and his Democrat cronies have perpetrated this shutdown really for two reasons. One, because Schumer is deathly afraid of AOC primarying him, and he's trying to somehow score points and look like he's tough on Trump. Basically, all he's doing is manifesting TDS. But the real reason is because they don't want the illegal criminal migrant gravy train to end. It is their hope. It is their strategy. They have put every egg in the let's import 20 million illegals, give them stuff, get them able to vote, and they can possibly save us in the next couple elections. I don't think it's going to happen because Trump is actively getting rid of these people. They are actively making our elections secure again, more secure anyway. And so them being able to vote is probably not going to happen. Them still being in the country, no, they're going to be deported. And everybody is waking up to how big a scam this has become. But let's dive into this story as SNAP is getting ready to end amidst this ridiculous government shutdown. Everett Frazier, welcome in. We need Obama to shut the hell up. I agree. I just want to play that little clip to show their change of heart over the last several years. Check this out.
Will not use emergency funds to pay for federal food benefits with a fast approaching deadline. CBS's Christina Fan is in New York with details on that. Christina.
Well, Jericho, 1 in 8 Americans rely on SNAP benefits, and tonight there is mounting worry for them. They might not be able to afford food with money running out 1 week from today.
I think people are starting to panic.
Food banks around the country are flashing warning signs.
We've been having about 7 to 10 new people a day this week.
Look at that. That was full this morning.
The pantry at Calvary Episcopal Church in Kentucky ran out of food for the first time in its 43-year history.
We feel like this is the tip of the iceberg.
Members of the California National Guard are now deployed to help food banks in the state. In Massachusetts, 16% of residents rely on SNAP benefits, which provide an average of $187 a month, or about $6 a day. Democratic Governor Maura Healey holds President Trump responsible.
You know, leadership is a choice. And sadly, President Trump has chosen to take away food from people all around this country.
Aboard Air Force One, President Trump told reporters he's not to blame.
Well, I'm going to let some other people talk to you. I'll have a comment on that later, but the Democrats are stopping it.
The sudden loss in federal food aid.
Exactly. So everybody, these Democrats are apoplectic, trying to blame Trump, but the American people aren't buying it. The American people know exactly what happened. The Republicans put forth a clean CR to simply keep the government doors open, and Democrats have blocked that CR 13 times. 13 times they have voted to keep the government shuttered, to keep it closed down. And now we are entering the FO phase of this situation. We've got air traffic controllers not getting paid. The military wasn't going to get paid 2 weeks ago, but Trump basically found money within the Pentagon budget, as well as using money from tariffs to be able to pay the military. Plus, there's about $100 million shortfall that was made up by one individual. So we've got Trump and the Republicans doing everything they can to make sure that some people get paid. Now they're probably not able to pay the air traffic controllers, who will see their first paycheck bounce essentially in about a week because their pay period just ended. We'll hear from Duffy on that. But the real scandal is not the fact that the SNAP benefits are going to end. The real scandal is two things. One, that 1 in 8 Americans are on SNAP benefits. 40 plus million Americans are receiving SNAP benefits. And this is supposed to be basically emergency type welfare. But we've got 40 million people on the government dole on the taxpayer dime. But check out who these quote unquote people are. Because you notice in that little story, they talked about the fact of Massachusetts that 16% of residents are on SNAP benefits. Nary did they mention anything about 16% of Americans or citizens of Massachusetts or citizens in general. Let's check that out, because this is the real scandal. And this is what the government shutdown is now exposing for the entire world to see. And it's high time. Check this out.
There are 42 million people in this country that need food stamps on a weekly basis. And we're saying people deliberately instead of Americans, because most of the people that are on food stamps aren't even from this country. 45% of Afghanistan immigrants are on food stamps, 42% of Somali immigrants, 34% of every immigrant from Iraq, 23% of Haitians, 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting
59% of all illegal aliens. And we know that there are north of 30 million illegal aliens in this country. 20 million were let in just in the last 4 years before Trump took office. So of the 42 million people on SNAP benefits, you've got easily more than half of them are illegal criminal aliens in this country that we are paying to have SNAP benefits, in addition to all the state stuff they get in terms of other EBT cards, cash cards, free cell phones, free rent. We have been subsidizing the illegal criminal alien population from around the world in our country, and it's high time it ends.
Food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans. Think about that. And we didn't know about any of this before the government shutdown started. But thanks to Democrats, we can confirm tonight that millions of Joe Biden illegal aliens, people who crossed the border when Joe was president, are now collecting food stamps from a program funded by hardworking American taxpayers. There are
Exactly. Sherry Clark, yeah, you're not supposed to be able to live on them. They're supposed to be a supplemental emergency benefit. But we got people who are somehow have cobbled together all their little different government programs and are living off this stuff. Lynn Singer, welcome into the house. Hey, really appreciate everybody rolling up. I'm going to say it again. Please smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notifications so that you know whenever we drop new content. But we have got a scandal that has broken now because of the government shutdown. Because of the focus on SNAP benefits ending here in 4 days, we are now finding out that the vast majority of people receiving SNAP benefits are not even U.S. citizens, and they're not even here legally. Half of SNAP benefits are illegal criminal aliens. And I say criminal aliens because if you are here illegally, you are an illegal criminal alien by definition. So we've got illegal migrants collecting U.S. government benefits in terms of SNAP, and that needs to end. Now, of the remaining 20 so million, actually it's 59, so 60s, there's probably about another 16 million unaccounted for. How many of those are actual U.S. citizens versus permanent legal residents? Because realize you've got four classes of people in the country. You've got U.S. citizens, then you've got permanent legal residents, people that are on the way to getting their green card, they've been granted residency status, they're in the pipeline to get naturalized. Then you've got temporary legal residents, diplomats, people who are here on temporary work visas. They might be here for 1, 2, 3 years. And then you've got all of the illegals. Realize that none of the latter two, absolutely zero of them, should receive any government benefits. If you are here as a temporary legal resident or you are here illegally, you should not get one thin red dime of any government subsidy or benefit. And I would argue that if you are here as a permanent legal resident but are not a citizen, you should also get not one thin red dime of government assistance. Now, that one's a little more arguable because you are in the pipeline. You are in the pipeline to be naturalized. But the vast majority of people, or a huge majority who are receiving government handouts, are not even U.S. citizens or ever going to be U.S. citizens, and they need to be cut off immediately. Let me know what you think. But here we go, because we're going to roll into this. I've got two little snippet videos that I think you're going to like. One is A Tale of Two Governors. Check this out, because Americans, particularly Black and other minority Americans, are finding out just the difference between how people are dealing, how politicians are dealing with this government shutdown. And it is opening eyes. Check this out.
Never seen a more potent display of the difference between Republicans and Democrats than what you're about to see.
To not pay the military, to not pay TSA, to not pay air traffic controllers, and to interrupt SNAP benefits for Virginians most in need.
Glenn Youngkin, Republican governor of Virginia.
For benefits like
Watch
SNAP
this.
to run
Pay
out.
attention
So
to
he
this.
says the state will pick up the bill for meal assistance.
The state of Virginia is going to step in and cover the benefits for
Why?
a while. We have the financial resources to do it for a while, not forever.
Meanwhile,
Wow, they have the financial resources to do it. You know why? Because they have all of our revenue. We have sent all of our revenue to Virginia. Their coffers are full with our revenue. Now, compare what Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin is doing. He's going to make sure that those people have SNAP, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that.
Exactly. They have taken your tax dollars and now they are funneling them to people in need, people who don't have the money. But it's basically income redistribution. However way you cut it, whether you agree with it or not, that is exactly what it is. Now check out the Democrats.
Compare that to Governor Moore. This is Governor Moore, Democrat governor of Maryland, how he's approaching this.
Moore put out a statement that says the Trump administration hasn't guaranteed states will be reimbursed for covering federal expenses like food benefits, which has been the case during previous shutdowns. The governor says, quote, "We will continue to do everything in our power to ensure the federal government follows the law and provides funding for the critical services that our families, our children, and our veterans rely on."
Now, this is interesting, and I've been telling you this for the longest time. Democrats are not your friends. For those people, oh, the Democrats are helping us. I have been telling you, if you listen to my program, I've been telling you over and over and over again, when you people are like, oh, well, we're going to provide expanded SNAP benefits and we're going to pay your rent and everything, they do that for moments like this. This is why they push those things, because this is leverage. Like the Democrats have explicitly said, this is leverage. And in a case where you have a Republican governor in Virginia, his priority is like, look, these people need these benefits. Let's get them fed. Governor Moore is thinking, how do we blame this on Trump?
Exactly. Every single government benefit, handout, anything of that comes with strings attached. Anytime you get something for nothing, it always comes with a barbed hook. So be very, very careful what government assistance, benefit, handout, entitlement you get on, because every single one of them is a barbed hook. It is a fish hook in your mouth that allows them to then run you around and lead you around by the nose. Absolutely 100% spot on. And then that's right, it's blatant fear mongering. They are trying to blame this all on Trump because they realize they are absolutely hosed in this whole thing. The vast majority of Americans blame Schumer and the Democrats for the shutdown, and that is not changing. Trump's approval has gone up during the shutdown because everybody realizes that the Republicans did not play politics with keeping the government open. They passed a clean CR. The Democrats, on the other hand, as we saw in that little Obama snippet in the beginning, are trying, because they don't like a law, they don't like the big beautiful bill, which was passed by Congress, both houses, they want to now renege on that law, and they are trying to use a government shutdown to get it done. They are throwing a temper tantrum, and it's not working. Now, I have one more video. I think you're going to like this because regardless of your thoughts on whether people should get, not get, who's to blame, this is how we as Americans need to deal with what's going on with the government shutdown, how people of faith need to deal with this. Check this out because I like this woman. This is fantastic stuff. Here we go.
So all my cousins in Missouri, y'all entire SNAP benefits will be shut down in November. Nobody will qualify for any type of assistance November 1st. Yeah, they claim it's because of the government shutdown, but no matter how it goes, I'm going to tell you why you're going to be able to survive with this shutdown. Okay, so check it. Me, I'm a mom who is very much kept. I didn't want to go to work. Okay, I stayed at home with my kids, 4 children. My husband worked. Okay, so that's a family of 6. We have not had food stamps for over a year. And yes, we pay the rents that you pay too. We have figured out what we had to release in order to gain. Follow me, okay? So if you are new to me, if I'm just popping up on your page, hey, I'm Dominique. Welcome to the Nash House brand, okay? I had my car repoed because I couldn't afford it. I was homeless before that, so I'm not going to go back to being homeless, right? Right. I gave up the car. Car was $600 a month. The insurance was $400 a month. Plus always putting gas in that mug. Plus maintenance, you feel me? Okay? Where we live at, pay $1,800 a month. I know, asinine. And the place has been up since 1984. But you know what? We need a shelter. Check. But do we really need this car? You're going to say, yeah, because I need to get around. No, you have a bus, a train system. You have Lyft, you have Uber. In St. Louis, you have Via, which is rideshare. So you're going to have to learn how to get along with people, okay? Then you have your feet. Your feet. God bless you with feet. Walk. Get your fat ass up and go out and walk. Then your hip won't be hurting. You won't be so fucking fat, because I used to be 400 pounds. Now that my ass got to walk everywhere, now I'm 186. But anyway, okay? Not to mention if you ride a bike, a scooter, what's them little things that be...
Exactly. I love what this woman's saying. If you don't have enough, you have to give up other things. You can't have it all. You can't do everything. If you don't have enough money, you give up the car. If you don't have enough money, you get a smaller place. If you don't have enough money, you walk. It's exactly right. It's what Americans have done forever. It's what a free market allows you to do. It allows you the freedom to basically write your own ticket. Now, sometimes that requires hard work, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you go broke. Sometimes bad things happen, and you pick yourself up and you dust yourself off and you keep going. But this idea that we're all supposed to be somehow dependent on the government is what allows the government to then control you. Anything they give you, they can take away. Anything they give you, they can use to control you. You are not free if you're on government subsidies or assistance. And that's what she's saying. And that's why we need to help these people get off. Charity, absolutely. Charity should be faith-based. It should be community-based. That's how it was designed. That's how God designed it. The church, your Christian community, that's who provided you charity, not the government, because your Christian community didn't come with massive strings attached. It came with the promise of let me help you know who Jesus is. Let me help you know who the God who supplies everything is. And you can get right with him, and then he can be your provider. That's where we need to get to. Hey, really appreciate everybody rolling up. So that's our first story for today. We've got two other stories that we have got to get to, but I wanted you to see that SNAP scandal because the vast majority of people getting this stuff are not even American citizens, and it should absolutely make your blood boil. Now, I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Let's dive into our next story, which is the absolute derangement over the Trump ballroom. And it's just laughable. And people are starting to check this out too. They are realizing that this is just another absolute ridiculous scam. It's just another Democrat nonsense talking point. So check out, we're going to dive into this clip, and then we're going to get into this whole Trump ballroom derangement, which is just classic. You're going to love this. Here we go.
Because I didn't want to crack 1,000. I didn't want people to get concerned because that's getting big. But we're going to have, we'll have the most beautiful ballroom in the country. It's going up. And for those that are interested, we got to get back to baseball. But you see the gold drapes? That's a knockout panel. We knock it in, you go, that comes out. And then you have essentially glass and exactly in the decor of the White House. I didn't know I'd be standing here right now because right on the other side, you have a lot of construction going on, which you might hear periodically. But that's a knockout panel, and that goes right into the ballroom, and the ballroom's going to be beautiful. So you'll have drinks, cocktails, everything on this floor, and then they'll say, welcome to dinner. You walk into the ballroom, Mr. Senators, and you're going to see a ballroom the likes of which I don't think it'll be topped. It'll be the finest. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It just started.
And this ballroom is going to be amazing. All the pictures that we have seen, it's absolutely amazing. And it's necessary. Realize that up until now, big state dinners have been hosted in tents on the White House lawn. You got women in glamorous dresses, foreign dignitaries come to the White House and, hey, we're going to host you in a tent. Really? Are you serious? This is absolutely, it's one of those things that it needed to be done. And it took Trump to see through the nonsense and actually get it done. Meanwhile, you've had hundreds of millions, even over time, billions of dollars of renovations and changes made to the White House that nobody nary batted an eye about. But now let's check out, I want you to see this video because this is absolutely classic. People are waking up to this. Even Democrats are starting to lose it. People like Fetterman are like, enough is enough already. But check out this video on the total Trump derangement over this ballroom, which is just, again, it's Trump derangement. That's really what this is.
Room plans may be turning into a sort of purity test for the Democrats. California Congressman Eric Swalwell posting on X, don't even think of seeking the Democratic nomination for president unless you pledge to take a wrecking ball to the Trump ballroom on day one. But that's not the attitude that we've seen from some of Trump's biggest media detractors. Both the Washington Post and the New York Times opinion pages now out with pieces defending the construction project. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Ben Dominus. Ben, it's great to see you.
You know it is bad when the Washington Post, the Washington Compost, and the New York Slimes are actually backing Trump over these ridiculous Democrats. That's how bad this is. That's how bad the Democrats are on the wrong side of this issue.
So this is what the Washington Post wrote. Privately, many alumni of the Biden and Obama White Houses acknowledge the long overdue need for an event space like what Trump is creating. It is absurd that tents need to be erected on the South Lawn for state dinners and VIPs are forced to use porta potties. The next Democratic president will be happy to have this. We should point out that Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, through Amazon, is a big donor to this project, but he doesn't control everything.
No, but John, look, you're the expert on this because you've been covering so many White Houses. You've been around a lot more of these state dinners than I have, certainly.
They're embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It's actually, I mean, this is something that anybody who knows anything about the way that the White House has to handle this, I mean, it looks like a wedding that has been very poorly planned in terms of its logistics.
Indeed.
And in fact, when I interviewed the president in the Oval several months ago, he brought this up specifically and started talking about the women in their nice shoes sinking into the wet grass and the like. That's the kind of thing that you've seen happen over and over in this White House. And look, other nations have setups that are much more impressive. And I think that the president really, this is about more than just his legacy. This is dealing with a significant problem, and anyone serious can say that. The idea that Swalwell is establishing a litmus test for getting rid of this, he's basically saying we need to agree to a giant waste of taxpayer money to punch.
Exactly. Swalwell is saying that unless you agree to demolish at taxpayer expense something that was paid for privately, because Trump has donated $100 million of his own money, plus he's gotten donors, private donors, to fund the rest of this. Taxpayers aren't paying for anything, which is the other major scam. So this is merely a huge TDS Trump derangement. It's an expose of it. And Lynn, you're absolutely right. They've lost the ability to protest about Hamas and Gaza and some of these other things. So they're stuck with their Trump derangement syndrome, leading them to protest anything that Trump does. This is absolutely crazy. So check out this, because there's more Trump derangement on this.
My wife and I in the East Wing. I can't believe it's gone. The only problem is that's not the East Wing. That's the diplomatic reception room, which is on the ground floor of the White House, which is what the president walks through every time that he goes out to the helicopter. So Mary Catherine Ham posted a picture of herself and her husband at your Halloween party, yes, which I attended a couple of years ago, which she said, my husband and I in the East Wing, he tried to save it. I can't believe it's gone.
You've got these ridiculous, idiotic libs posting pictures that aren't even in the East Wing saying, oh my gosh, the East Wing is gone. This is just absolute. You can't make this stuff up. These people are really that stupid. They are really that Trump deranged. Now, I want to give you this little clip, because this is what the American people realize. This is what they know. And if people don't know what, they're finding it out, and they're seeing through the ridiculous Democrat TDS lies. Check this out.
Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news. Just now, the White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so. It's almost like Doge was never about waste at all.
President Trump and other donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure.
Exactly. It's all privately funded. That's the whole point. It's not costing taxpayers anything. Check out this one. He figures it out too.
I don't like posting a lot of videos on Facebook or X or anything like that, but I do have to post another video, because this is my second one today, is that I see a lot of liberals complaining about the $200 million ballroom that's going to be added to the White House. And I don't think that a lot of people are really aware that Donald Trump is donating $100 million to have this done. And the rest of them are private donations. So it's not coming out of taxpayer funds. And I really just don't understand the outrage. I just don't get it.
Most people don't understand the outrage. That's the whole point. Even Fetterman doesn't even understand the outrage. And Eric Smith, I really appreciate you rolling up. And it is bad. TDS is awful. And it is actually causing people to lose friends, that they are so Trump deranged. They are so lib. They're so far to the left. It's absolute nonsense. And I feel sorry for you, but it's happened. It's happened to me too. And I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Let me just take this brief moment. Please smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications if you haven't already. Eric Smith in the house, Lynn Sanger, Sherry Clark Thomas, Everett Frazier. Really appreciate everybody being here. If you haven't already, please subscribe and please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. But true to this woman's forum, we've got other Trump deranged people actually calling for revolution. This is nonsense. I personally think they should find this guy and lock him up because this is seditious conspiracy. But here we go.
The White House has announced that they are building a $200 million golden ballroom in the White House. And you know what I think? You really want to know what I think? Coming closer. I think it's time that we emulate 1783 France and remind this fake king what we do to people who spend more money on ballrooms than most of us will ever make in our fucking lives.
Okay, emulate 1783 France says, let's have a revolution and kill the president. I hope the Secret Service is looking at this guy. But regardless of how wacko this nutcase is, that is not the sentiment of the rest of the American people. And remember that the White House has been renovated over and over and over again, from Taft to Truman to Nixon to Obama, over and over and over again. And the American people are just not, they are not buying into this. Here's a poll. This was a YouGov poll. So, impressions of the ballroom, or, positive impact or negative impact on the White House. 23% positive, 30%, neither one, have no dog in the fight, 35% negative, 12% not sure. So you've got over 50% of the American people are either, yeah, this is good, or I don't care. And then you got another 12% not sure. So the idea that the American people are against this have once again, the Democrats have put themselves on the wrong side of an issue. They are once again with the minority of American people. They're with the 35%. Usually they're on the 20% of an 80-20 doom loop. At least this time they're with 35%. But again, people are waking up to the fact that there's no taxpayer funding going in this, and it's radically shifting. This is not going to go well for Democrats. This is just another example of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome on steroids, because they have nothing else to fight. Really, they're down to fighting about the ballroom, and they're down to fighting about ICE, which is an absolute 80-20 doom loop issue. And they're about to get FAFO'd on that issue too. As the Supreme Court and the appellate courts allow Trump to deploy National Guard, it's going to get really, really ugly for Democrats and Antifa protesters. Now, I've got one more story, which is arguably the biggest story, although the SNAP benefits one was big. But we're going to start diving back in to more J6 stuff as more documents and more revelations get released. And I want to pitch it again. I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine who was actually at the Capitol on January 6th, who was harassed by the feds, who was caught up in all of this J6 nonsense from the libs and from the Democrats. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be happening. Really looking forward to it. But let's dive into the latest on this January 6th, because it is absolutely getting insane what is going on with the pipe bomb issue, which is probably the biggest scandal. It's part of the biggest scandal in American history, which goes all the way back to spying on Trump in 2015-16, to the entire, deep state coup during Trump's first term, to the rigged election, to all of it. Check this out.
But I want to turn to something that we broke in the last 72 hours. It began Thursday night with a story on the number of FBI agents who went to the Capitol on January 6, 274 of them, and then came out and said they witnessed a politically biased FBI, that the J6 defendants were treated substantially different than those who committed crimes during the BLM riots of 2020. Today, we were able to provide to the American public 2 new FBI documents that Kash Patel has found. One of them is the lab report on the 2 J6 pipe bombs. Remember the pipe bombs found at the DNC and the RNC, the 2 major political party headquarters? There's a really interesting question that those reports raise, which is, how do bombs that had a 1-hour timer sit for 16 hours without going off? The FBI lab report couldn't answer that, though it did confirm that there were 1-hour timers on 16-hour-old bombs. No one can explain what it is, but the mystery got even more severe when we got the main witness interview with the woman who the FBI interviewed, who says she found the Republican National Committee bomb. And she says the story that the FBI is telling, that the bombs were there for 16 hours, can't be true, because she walked by the Republican National Committee bomb site an hour before she found the bomb, and there was no bomb there. Then it suddenly showed up when she came back on her laundry run. She's adamant about it. And also, she said, at the time she saw the bomb, it still had 20 minutes on its timer, something that the FBI lab doesn't acknowledge. What does that mean? We got a lot more questions than we got answers, but at least now, under Kash Patel, the FBI is providing Congress and the American public evidence long denied the American public.
Exactly. This is the biggest scandal. Now, realize what this comes down to. All right. And we're going to dive in because Dan Bongino, now deputy director of the FBI, we've actually got some snippets from his old show where he was talking about this. The fact of the matter is the Democrats, the libs, the globalist cabal of corruptocrats could not have U.S. senators actually look into the results of the 2020 election. They could not have senators audit the 2020 election. That would not have worked for them. That would have been a massive problem because they would have uncovered massive amounts of fraud. We know that now because between 2016, 2020, and 2024, there was a mystery 15 million votes. Basically, there were about 65, 70 million votes total between all candidates in 2016. There were 85 million in 2020. And then come back to 2024 and we're back to 65, 70 million. So somehow a phantom 15 million votes showed up in 2020 that disappeared 4 years later. And the fact of the matter is there was major election mail-in voting fraud, and they could not allow Congress to ask for an audit of the vote. That couldn't happen. So they staged the J6 Fedsurrection. Now, I think what they realized was that getting people to actually breach the Capitol wasn't a guarantee. So their guarantee, their ace in the hole, their ace up their sleeve was the J6 pipe bombs, because then they could call it an insurrection no matter what and shut down the voting in the Senate and shut down any idea of an audit of the vote of the actual election. And so here's where we go. Check out Dan Bongino as he dives into this on his program before he became deputy director of the FBI.
So now we have Capitol Police, DNC Security, Secret Service, and another protection detail that missed this bomb at the DNC while Kamala Harris was there? No way. Bullshit.
So what he's saying is there's no way that he's buying that the U.S. Secret Service and the FBI, who actually do security checks prior to dignitaries showing up at locations, missed a pipe bomb out in the open, not hidden, basically stuck in a corner. There's no way they actually missed it. Now check this out, which is another snippet from his show where he talks about the fact that based on video footage, it very much looks like the bomb was planted 1 hour prior to it being, or 15 minutes prior to it being found. But right before, it's not planted the night before, it's planted the day of. Check this out.
Kamala Harris was not at the Capitol on January 6th, as I just said, which is the strangest thing because nobody wants to talk about it. Even Kamala Harris. They keep telling us there was an insurrection on January 6th. Yeah, Kamala Harris was at the Democrat National Committee headquarters right down the block from the Capitol. And if there was an insurrection, the story of her being there with a bomb outside should be the biggest story in the news. But ladies and gentlemen, no one wants to talk about it. Bottom line up front, here's what I think happened. I think this is one of the biggest scandals in politics. They could not, absolutely could not, have Republican United States senators on certification day outing stories of voter fraud. You understand? All of America would have heard what happened in the 2020 election. They had to interrupt it. The insurrection, what they call what happened at the Capitol, I don't think that entire thing was planned that way, but I don't. I think there were people in there who were instigating, but I don't think they anticipated that reaction. Don't mistake what I'm saying. I think they expected and wanted chaos. Absolutely. I just told you they had to interrupt the hearing. They had to. But I don't think they expected that. I don't. So they had I can prove it to you. So they had a backup plan. The backup plan was going to be these pipe bombs near the RNC at the Capitol Hill Club and at the DNC. That way, if the chaos didn't break out at the Capitol, they could say, we got to shut this thing down. Kamala Harris was almost killed by a pipe bomb. You get it? And the best part of the whole thing for them, these lunatics, is if the pipe bomb was discovered, they would say, oh, it was just a training device. We were testing security. Play the video. This explains everything. So here, thanks to Julie Kelly and Darren Beatty and others, we have this. There's a police vehicle from DC Metro showing up. You're going to see a guy get out of the car not far from where the bomb is. You'll see in the split screen. This is about, 15 feet away where the bomb was later, found. You'll see Julie put this together there. You'll see this. You'll see the guy getting out with a bag out of this Metro police car. And you see him right there with the bag. He looks, I don't assume he's a police officer. He's in a police vehicle. He could be working with someone. He's in a police vehicle, but don't automatically assume he's a police officer. Could be, but we don't know that yet. We just know he's definitely in a DC Metro police vehicle. And you'll see that where he gets out of the car, that the bomb, again, is found just 15 feet away or so. There he goes walking back. Now, a guy who's a Capitol Hill police officer, oddly enough, just minutes after that, finds the same bomb and goes up to a DC vehicle, a DC Metro police vehicle. Hey, look, I think we got a pipe bomb over there.
Exactly. This whole thing was an inside job set up from the get-go. And here's Julie Kelly herself on the Benny Show talking about this very fact as these are all being revealed now and released by the FBI, by Kash Patel and the FBI themselves. Check this out.
Look at the timer. There's like a 60-minute timer. Be set for 20 minutes if it was planted the night before.
Right. And that will be our next piece. And that is even more incriminating.
Like somebody went and put it there like quickly.
Well, also,
like in the window that it was found.
So realize there's only two ways that you could have a bomb with a 60-minute timer planted with 20 minutes left on it. It is either planted minutes before it was found, or if it was planted the night before, the timer didn't move for 16 hours, which means the bomb was never going to go off. Now, the FBI has confirmed, oh, no, the bomb could have gone off. It was a real bomb. So if it was a real bomb, it could not have been planted the night before. It had to be planted minutes before it was found. Hence the video from the Dan Bongino show before he became deputy director.
How was it set for 20 minutes to allegedly detonate? Not only if it was set the night before, but magically coincides 12:40, 20 minutes to 1 p.m. when the joint session of Congress convened.
Julie, you cook. You cook.
Right.
I follow your account. Everyone follows Julie. Julie has millions of followers. That's a kitchen timer. Zoom as hard as we possibly can on that. That's a kitchen timer. It's not particularly sophisticated. As I've seen enough Tom Cruise movies. Don't claim to be an expert in this,
right.
But like, how was that set the night before? How on earth is that viable bomb that's about to blow? Like, how was that set up 12 hours ago?
Because it wasn't.
Exactly, because it wasn't.
Obviously.
Because it wasn't. Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, I know you're from Iowa, so I have to explain this a little bit, Benny. It was not.
Got him. Boom.
As an Illinois and Chicago, and I have to say that. No, I love Iowa. Both my parents were born in Iowa.
You know what? You're right. In Iowa, you would be using a timer like that to pop popcorn.
For those of you in Rio Linda, you cannot have a 1-hour timer on a bomb set 16 hours before that somehow shows 20 minutes left. Exactly. This is the whole point. It was an inside set up false flag job.
And that, or to, that would be it. That's how I do. That's how I use the timer like that. But even I, from Iowa, hitting my rocks together, to count the time, knows that that's a 60-minute kitchen timer.
Yes, it is. 60 minutes. Correct.
At DMAC, I gotta laugh. Yes, I don't know what kind of prison time would be involved, but I don't think it would probably be worth the $500,000. I could be wrong, but I would not want to go to prison for this. under this administration. Now, maybe under the previous administration, they'd have just let you off scot-free. In fact, they would have celebrated you. Oh, you're the guy who planted the bomb? Yay! Hey, good job. But they weren't offering any rewards because they didn't want anybody to find who was actually involved in this Fedsurrection. So again, we are now coming out. The evidence is coming out. It's becoming clear that the pipe bombs were a scam. The pipe bombs were an inside setup, a false flag operation. It was their ace in the hole to make sure there was a insurrection so they could stop the Senate from auditing the vote. Meanwhile, you had 300 federal agents and confidential informants in the crowd, along with bust-in Antifa and BLM members that actually committed the breach of the Capitol, that egged everybody on, that were the that incited the riot. You had two separate false flag operations going on. Nancy Pelosi denied the National Guard because she knew with the National Guard, they never could have pulled off the insurrection idea. They needed the chaos. They needed the optics because there are no optics in a pipe bomb. So even if they had the pipe bomb and they managed to maybe stop the audit temporarily, without the chaos out in front of the Capitol, they never could have accomplished the twofold goal that they wanted, which was stop the audit of the vote and paint all of MAGA as somehow insurrectionists so they could never rise to power again. Well, they have now failed on basically all the counts. The only thing they were able to do was they stopped the audit. But all the J6 prisoners have been pardoned, and Trump and his FBI are getting to the bottom of this Fedsurrection, and it is going to come back and is going to be part of the giant conspiracy that I hope we're seeing now, because we've got a grand jury that's being impaneled in Florida, hopefully to look into the grand seditious conspiracy that wraps up all of the J6, all of the 2020 election, with the spying on Trump in 2015, with the whole Russia hoax in 2016, along with the denial of the Hunter Biden laptop, all of it put together. Let me know what you think in the comments. Absolutely, DMAC, it could be a female, 100%. All the auto pen pardons are part of that scandal as well. This whole thing, I hope, is going to come to roost, and there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of arrests and prosecutions. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really appreciate everybody rolling up today. Thanks so much for watching. Please smash that like button. DMAC, I'm so glad that you were able to find the channel again. Once again, we have been utterly shadow banned by YouTube. I need you guys to help me out. In order to get unshadow banned, I need you to do a couple simple things. Watch every video that we post, start to finish. Watch them till the end. That really helps the algorithm. Like them, comment on them, because that also really helps with the algorithm. And then share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Really appreciate you rolling up. I hope you have a phenomenal Tuesday. Remember, God is good and He is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. He is in control no matter what. Thanks for being here. Until I catch you next time.